that they would see a policy coming soon where we would no longer be accepting non-arrest cases. The only feedback that I received in that meeting was, well, we'll work with you on that, but I don't know, like there are going to have to be some exceptions. From February 20th until March 30th, when we sent the policy out to our partner law enforcement agencies, I did not receive one phone call, I did not receive one email, and I did not receive one indication that anyone wanted to take part in building or shaping the policy. On the 30th of March, or sometime prior to that, that the policy became in effect, I sent it out. And the only response that I received directly was from the Florida Wildlife Commission, thanking me for understanding the complexity of the prosecution of their cases and how they need to be able to send over non-arrest for our collaboration. I did not personally receive one email or correspondence from any other law enforcement agency head. The General Counsel of Orange County Sheriff's Office reached out to my Executive Director and General Counsel asking if we'd be willing to pause the policy, to which we responded we were not going to pause the policy, but we'd be welcoming any suggestions, any feedback, any information that was necessary in making this policy work best for everyone. So to say that we were not willing to collaborate or work with law enforcement with regards to the implementation of the policy is just simply false. And to have a press conference regarding a policy that came out of my office with law enforcement without inviting me to the press conference, without having any discussions with me regarding the policy, is again putting politics before public safety. Having me now have to respond and address a statement that was made by the Attorney General today in a news conference that I was not advised was taking place, that happened in my own circuit, is putting politics over public safety. I will not participate in that. I was elected by the citizens of the 9th Judicial Circuit to put public safety before politics. And for me, politics ended on November 5th of 2024, when 414,000 citizens of the 9th Judicial Circuit elected me again to represent them as their state attorney. Now, the Attorney General seems really stuck on George Soros. I think he mentions him every single time he mentions my name. That is further evidence of politics over public safety. I don't know if you know this, but in the 2024 election, the Republicans spent $2.8 million trying to keep me from being reelected, trying to dismantle the truth of the citizens of this community. It didn't work, and I didn't receive $1 from George Soros or any organization related to George Soros to combat the $2.8 million spend of the Republican Party. All of that ended on November 5th. Now, it's time for us to get to work. And I'm hopeful that the other elected and appointed officials will join me in collaborating to address this decades-long issue that plagues the 9th Judicial Circuit, and I'm sure many other circuits throughout the state of Florida. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions. Dave, do you want to man that for me? Thank you.
Sure. State Attorney, you mentioned that you're going to be meeting tomorrow with the Office of Statewide Prosecution. So I take it you are open to them sending some of this assistance. Based on the history of these non-arrest cases, what do you think they're going to find when they look under the hood? I know you don't know what's in that stack of 13,000 cases, but based on history, what do you think they are going to find in terms of the prosecutability of those cases?
Well, if you just use this sample of DV cases from 2021, where 3,000 plus were sent over and we were only able to file on 300, I think that they're going to find more of the same. I think going forward, we may see some differences now that this issue has been raised publicly. But I think looking backwards at the 13,000 cases that we currently have to go through, that you're going to find more of the same.
Is there a concern about the practice of these state prosecutors coming in, possibly that they don't report to you, that they might be looking for something else to possibly suspend you again? We heard from the governor who said that if there's evidence on his desk, he would look into suspending you again.
He didn't have evidence the first time, so I don't think evidence is what the governor needs. I think he just needs a reason.
Do you think that the state prosecutors, that there might be politics at play with them coming in?
I am not going to spend this administration focused on the actions of the governor or the individuals in Tallahassee. I'm going to get up every day and come to work and implement policies that are going to take us to keeping the people of the Ninth Judicial Circuit safe, because that's what they elected me to do.
Greg? Is this a larger problem? You look at what happened to Andrew Warren, you look at what happened to you. It's happening in a couple of other places around Florida with county commissioners down in South Florida. Is this just life in today's world with this governor and about what he's about? Is that what the whole thing is?
It would.
Case backlog. Forget all this. Is this just about the governor being the governor?
I mean, it definitely seems that this is a politically motivated attack because, as you clearly have evidence, the last state attorney who implemented a non-arrest policy didn't have to hold a press conference, didn't have to get the validation of all the other state attorneys throughout the state of Florida, didn't need law enforcement to support that policy. He just implemented it because he felt that was the best thing to do for his circuit. And clearly, this circuit is under a different level of scrutiny, and decisions made here apparently need everyone's approval.
So I have a bit of a two-parter. So the Attorney General this morning had 4 prosecutors he said would be working with y'all, among which he said would be a handful of prosecutors that would be sent here. Is there a specific number that he said would be coming into the office to work on that backlog?
So again, the Attorney General has not communicated with me directly at all. I heard from Nick Cox this morning, who is with the statewide office, and we'll discuss what that looks like tomorrow when we have our meeting. But I have not received any direct correspondence from the Attorney General, so I have no idea what their intentions are, how many attorneys that they're sending. However, historically, when the Office of Statewide Prosecution goes into prosecutors' offices, it's just for a short period of time to help with a current backlog. It's not a long-term solution. So I don't have any reason to believe that this is going to impact non-arrest cases in this circuit going forward.
And secondly, if they are successful in clearing the backlog, at least for now, would the policy that you put in place, is that something that you would consider rescinding?
Well, not unless we have a long-term solution, right? If we clear the non-arrest cases now because I have staff that's coming in that's not otherwise assigned, that's great and it's wonderful. But what will that do for the 12,000 or 13,000 that history says that we'll receive in the next year or in this year, right? So if I'm looking for long-term solutions, this is only a temporary fix.
State Attorney, as pointed out earlier, your critics have painted this as a Monique Worrell issue. If you were to correct that, what kind of problem would you say it is?
This is a judicial funding issue, right? This is a funding for the criminal justice system issue. The fact that the court system is historically underfunded, and that we can't, out of one side of our mouth, say that we support law and order, and then out of the other side say we don't want to support the individuals who are producing that. So while there has been an increase in the number of law enforcement officers who have been hired, that's wonderful for law enforcement, but there hasn't been a significant increase to the number of prosecutors to prosecute the cases that law enforcement and those additional law enforcement officers will be bringing into the prosecutor's office. So again, this is not a political issue. This is a public safety issue. This is a underfunding of the court system issue, and it's something that I am hopeful that the legislature will pay attention to.
State Attorney, there was a case Sheriff Mina mentioned where a man was trespassing and watching kids in a karate class 3 or 4 times, but the first couple of times he wasn't arrested because he wasn't on scene once law enforcement arrived. They're pointing the finger to you, saying that the case was rejected because of this policy. What would you say to that?
I would say that if law enforcement can't arrest them, neither can I, right? I cannot go find this individual. I can't bring him into the court system. So what I need law enforcement to do is to find the individual, make an arrest, or go through the process that has been outlined by statute with bringing them in. Having that case sit on the desk of an attorney for months or even years isn't going to bring safety to our community. And on that particular case, my office has been in contact with the sheriff's office and asked for a discussion. Let's talk about how we can work together to bring this person to justice. So sending it over as a non-arrest case, especially understanding that we have a backlog of non-arrest cases, isn't perpetuating public safety. It's making us more in danger because this person is still at large.
Okay, so you talked about how you reached out to the sheriff to say we're going to be implementing this policy. A month and a half went by, came time for the policy to go into effect, and you hadn't heard from them in the meantime. Did you guys reach out in that month and a half again and say, hey, we want your input before this happens? Was there any other attempt at that?
I sent the policy over at the end of March before it became active on April the 1st. And I didn't receive feedback at that point other than don't implement it.
And then the sheriff shows up now alongside the governor while the governor is making threats that are thinly veiled, if veiled at all. Does that affect your relationship, your working relationship with the sheriff's office? How do you guys move forward?
I'm going to do what the people of this circuit elected me to do until and unless that I'm told I can't do it anymore. And I'm willing to work with every agency and elected or appointed official who's willing to work to bring public safety to the people of the 9th Judicial Circuit. Me getting it back and forth with any elected official isn't promoting public safety, and I'm just not going to do that.
Do you have any ideas for long-term solutions if that funding that you need never comes through? Is there an alternative?
To no longer accept non-arrest cases.
Look for a longer term?
That's the long-term solution. If we can't get the funding that we need, we can't continue to accept those cases, but we can continue to work with our law enforcement partners to ensure that if they have a question or a problem or they need assistance, that we can guide them however possible. But the long-term solution at this point, looking back through decades of non-arrest cases, is to say, you know what? There have been 4 or 5 different state attorneys who have tried to address this problem, and we haven't been able to address it. So here is the way in 2025 that's most effective for us to address this problem.
So we'll take one more. I know Madam State Attorney needs to go check on her staff member. So, sir?
Okay. Are you afraid of being dismissed again by from this office?
I fear God and God alone.
Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate you. We will have this PowerPoint available if you would like to review that. So we'll probably figure out the way we can send that out. But we wish you all a great afternoon. Madam State Attorney?
Mr. Allman, can you take a couple of questions about that PowerPoint?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go check. I'm sorry. I'll get with you.
Okay, then we're not going to use those because there's a lot of confusion about the numbers that you guys put up that we have questions about. So,
Okay.
is it best to talk to you later about it?
Yeah, let me hook you up
And I
with.
understand.
Yeah.
I totally understand.
Anika, can you just